Welcome to part 2 of my ladder video where I finished 129th global. I just wanted to quickly introduce this video. If you haven't checked out part 1, make sure to check it out. In that video I beat a lot of hard counters. In this video it's just some of the matchups that weren't necessarily as hard, but they're still really good gameplay against really good players, and I do think that make sure to watch all the way to the end if you're trying to learn how to play Graveyard. So in this matchup, I am up against Sergio Ramos, and this is a guy, if you didn't know, who finished #1 in the world in CCGS. So I think he's competing in Serial Nova, and I'm not actually sure if he's on Nova anymore, but he's a pretty good player. He's really consistent, and I do actually have counter in this matchup though if I play it well. Really, the trick against any giant deck is just going opposite lane with your Graveyard as soon as it plays giant. That way they can't poison your tombstone, or they can't stack up that big of a push. Because if I just try to defend, he's just gonna poison everything I defend with, and I'll have no counter push at all. So here I go with Graveyard. I'm pretty aggressive with Graveyard versus giant decks. It's just the better play because they're gonna be pretty aggressive versus you. They're gonna try to spell cycle you, so you kind of just have to try to spell cycle them. And thankfully, he lets me activate his King Tower early, so I'm definitely going to go for that King Tower activation. I always activate King Tower throw close. It's always a good play. And then here I'm just going to pre-place my Tombstone. And if you were to, like, say, Firewall my Tombstone, I would... Oh, actually, never mind. So I pre-place my Tombstone, just right play. Always pre-place it versus giant decks. And I don't have Graveyard in hand, so instead I'm just going to defend his push. I'll probably just go Valk all the way in the back because I know he has Cannon Cart, so I don't want to play my Valkyrie and have it like just get absolutely annihilated by the Cannon Cart. Instead I go defensive poison because I get value on his Night Wish and Cannon Cart. I'm just playing it slow, kind of waiting for him to hopefully overcommit. As you can see, I have to actually waste another Tombstone. It's really hard to defend Giant with this deck, but I do manage to get up the defense. I'm not down in Elixir, and now as soon as he goes giant next, I'm just going to go Graveyard opposite lane and force him to waste his log and his zap so that he can't log or zap my Tombstone. Or if he had poison, he wouldn't be able to poison my Tombstone because he poisons my Graveyard. So here I go Graveyard Freeze. Always going Graveyard Freeze opposite lane versus this deck. And it gets a decent amount of damage on his tower. He doesn't actually use any spells, so he defended it really well. And I'm actually almost surprised I defended this. I played my Valkyrie there. I actually thought that Valkyrie or Cannon Cart would be in range of the tower, and the Valkyrie would kill both the Cannon Cart and the Royal Ghost, but unfortunately it doesn't, so I have to waste a freeze on it, and now it's getting kind of risky. I have to make sure I kill his Cannon Cart. He goes with Night Witch at the bridge, and I'm just defending it at all costs now. He had Elixir advantage because he didn't use he didn't over defend my Graveyard, so he had a really nice push. And at this point, I'm like, man, I really have to keep up the pressure. I just have to finish off the game. So I go Valkyrie Graveyard at the bridge, just waiting to see what his play is. He goes log. I just go ahead and poison anyway. I know that it's okay to poison because he doesn't really have like minions or anything in his deck, so I can poison and he'll be forced to like log or zap it. So I do manage to defend. I have to spend another Tombstone, so if he goes giant at the bridge, I don't really have anything good to defend it. So instead, if he goes giant at the bridge, I'm just going to try to kind of race him to killing the tower first. So I go with another Graveyard Freeze, just trying to finish off the tower at this point, making sure that he has to use his poison and his log. Because if he uses poison and log to defend my Graveyard, then the Graveyard costs 5 Elixir, and I'm only down 1 Elixir, and I'm going to get a lot of damage from the tower, so it's definitely worth it. And that is GG versus Sergio Ramos. Okay, this next matchup is another Three Musketeer giant deck. And I had 2 replays against this. I probably won't keep both of them in the video, but we'll see which one I end up keeping in the video, depending on which one is better played by my opponent, and I guess better played by me. So first play, I do not have Ice Wizard in cycle, or I don't have Graveyard in cycle, I don't have Poison in cycle. So because of that, I'm just going to slow roll in the back, but I did cycle to Graveyard, so I go with my Graveyard, and I'm just trying to get poison value. He does drop his Spear Goblins, so I do decide to poison them. And now at this point, I'm down a lot in Elixir just because I had a really awkward starting hand, and I couldn't poison. Ideally, I would just poison his Pump at the start of the game, but I couldn't poison Pump at the start of the game, so I'm down in Elixir. here, I just go Valkyrie to kill that. And just defending for as little elixir as possible. I waited on my Mega Minion because I knew he might play bats or something behind it. So I waited on his Mega Minion. And then I just go, now that the bats are out of the picture, I go with my Mega Minion to kill his Musketeer. And it basically gets a lot of damage. He definitely wasted a Minion Horde here because I got a +2 elixir trade with that Tornado. So bad Minion Horde by him, and potentially that actually cost him the game because now I'm up 2 elixir. He had a huge elixir advantage on me. He could have potentially kept his elixir advantage for the rest of the game, but he didn't. So here I'm thinking, let's wait and see what his move is. He goes with pumps, so I'm probably just going to poison his pump. There we go. I probably wouldn't even have played a card in that situation because I knew he was close to 10 elixir. I was just waiting for his pump no matter what he did, or if he decided to go giant in the back or something, I would just go graveyard opposite lane. That's one important thing you have to do with this deck. You don't. Sometimes you have to leak elixir if you have a really awkward card cycle. Like versus this deck, I never just want to waste Valkyrie unless I knew it was to defend one of his cards. So here I'm defending his 3 Musketeers with Valkyrie. That's a positive elixir trade for me. I'm kind of forced to freeze because either that or he would have taken my tower and, well, not even taken my tower, but this is his tower he's attacking, so I can't afford for him to get any more tower damage on it. And here I do just poison his pump again. I'm just playing it slow. I'm waiting for him to drop giant in the back. I want to go 3 Musketeers as soon as he drops giant in the back, but he has kind of an awkward cycle where he has to play 3 Musketeers before giant, so I don't really have much of an opportunity to play graveyard at this point. And then here he goes to Battle Ram. I'm just waiting to cycle back to my Valkyrie. I play my Valkyrie, and I try to freeze, but unfortunately a Valkyrie dies before that freeze, so I kind of have to play another Ice Wizard just to make sure that those 2 Musketeers die. And I'm just going to tornado this all to one lane again, probably. And probably just wait for Valkyrie. Or, yeah, I think waiting for my Valkyrie definitely makes the most sense there, because I don't want to waste a poison on it. Because then, as you can see here, he just goes Minion Horde, opposite lane with Battle Ram. So if I wasted my poison there, I would have definitely lost the game. So I always try to defend the Musketeers with Valkyrie. And then here, I just set up another Tombstone, just playing it slow until he goes giant. Now, as soon as he goes giant, I'm going to hit the opposite lane with Graveyard. And I'm waiting. I'm definitely going to freeze whatever he drops. And there we go. He drops that. I don't know if this finishes off the tower. I know, but okay, there it goes. It finishes off the tower, so I managed to win the game, and that was GG. Okay, so in this matchup, I'm up against a P.E.K.K.A guy who has kind of a weird deck. I'm pretty sure that he has Battle Ram in this deck. So first play, I don't think I'm exactly sure what this guy's using. I haven't played him before. I just decided to go Tombstone. I would play it one tile lower if I had Tornado on hand. If I don't have Tornado on hand, I play it one tile higher. So I started off the game with Tombstone, just waiting for his move at this point, just waiting to see what deck he has. And now I'm just like, okay, this man has P.E.K.K.A. And initially, I probably would have thought that he had P.E.K.K.A with Miner, but yet it does actually have P.E.K.K.A with Royal Hogs, which is, I don't know if it makes it harder. I think it actually might make it, nah, it probably doesn't change much, to be honest. But I don't have much in hand to defend this, so instead I play a Mega Minion far back. I know that 1-on-1 Mega Minion kills minions, so I play it a little bit far back to kind of snipe his minions and then activate my King Tower. Unfortunately, since I had a bad hand, I took a lot of damage from my tower, but I did activate my King Tower, so I have an advantage going on later into the game. And at this point, I'm thinking this guy just used his minions, so I'm definitely going to go with Graveyard because he doesn't really have anything to kill it. He does go with Wizard, and so I just go ahead with Graveyard Freeze. And it gets a decent amount of damage on its tower, so I think it was definitely worth it playing that Graveyard. Here he goes with Royal Hogs. I'm trying to save my Tombstone for his Royal Hogs at all costs. I don't really want to pre-place Tombstone because it'll just give him Fireball value or Poison value depending on what his spell is. So versus Royal Hogs, I try sometimes to pre-place Tombstone, but in this matchup, you probably won't see me do it a lot unless I have like an awkward hand, I guess. So I just go Ice Wizard in the back. I'm at 10 elixir. Probably just gonna go Valkyrie same lane as this Dark Goblin. I play it so that if you play it in that position, the Dark Goblin will hit the if you play it in that position versus Magic Archer and Dark Golem, the Dark Golem will hit the Valkyrie, or if you play an Ice Golem there, it'll hit the Ice Golem, and then it's really not risky, and you won't, the Dark Golem won't get a lot of damage on your tower. So here he has a very good push on me. So how I defend this is gonna have to be really careful. I play my Valkyrie, same lane as the Pekka side. I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of damage on my left tower because he has a lot more damage on my right tower. I do go Tornado there just to make sure he kills Mega Man, because if I didn't, he was going to get like 1,000 more damage on the tower, potentially even take the tower. At this point, I'm kind of getting scared, but that was kind of an awkward Pekka. It worked though because his wizard didn't die to the poison, but now that he played that Pekka, I just defend for as little elixir as possible. I wait on that Valkyrie to make sure to kill the Dark Golem also, and I cycle back to my graveyard. At this point, I realize that he doesn't have poison, so I know this graveyard can finish off the game. I'm waiting on my freeze until he drops something, and there he drops some minions, and I managed to win the game. So GG to him. So starting off this game, I've never played this guy before, so I don't think I knew what his deck was. I was very confused, like what he was using. So I'm probably just gonna go Ice Wizard in the back first play. I go Miner trying to predict. I go Ice Wizard trying to predict his Miner, but since he Miners not in the safe position where he should have Minered, which is where I placed my Ice Wizard, I'm able to Tornado to the King Tower, and I'm always willing to activate my King Tower. One of my #1 priorities with this deck is activating my King Tower as soon as possible. You'll see often I'll even give myself an elixir disadvantage just to activate my King Tower. So he uses that, so I know that he doesn't have anything to defend his graveyard. Maybe he has poison, but even if he did, I'd only be down to 1 elixir. And my freeze plus the graveyard skeletons are basically going to kill anything that he drops. At this point, I realize that this man has minor chips, so I'm going to start being like pretty aggressive with my graveyard freezes. I can tell that, I don't know exactly what his deck is, but I know that it doesn't have a whole lot of counter push potential. He seems to just be spell cycling me. And I'm throwing up the question marks because I'm just like, what in the world is this man using? So here, I probably just go Tombstone. I don't want to give him too much spell value by dropping anything behind my King Tower because I'm guessing, I didn't know he has Rocket, but I was guessing he might spell it or something. He doesn't rocket my Mega Minion. Really weird Inferno Tower by him, trying to block the lane, but because he spent his Inferno Tower and it's not going to do, it's a negative elixir trade for him versus my Mega Minion, I'm willing to overcommit with my Graveyard Freeze. And he also gives me poison value, so I'm willing to overcommit my poison value just because I know his only thing to kill my tower is Miner so far. So now I'm just waiting for his move, waiting to hit 10 elixir. He goes with the Miner Rocket, and I was thinking he was gonna go. He misses everything with the Miner Rocket, so now he's down so much elixir. So I'm just cycling back to my graveyard as quick as possible. I knew he was gonna drop Inferno Tower, so I had my Tombstone like pre-selected. I get a kind of a lucky freeze because it hits the Valkyrie. I was just trying to freeze the Ice Wizard, and then his tower is almost down at this point. I do go Poison. I know that I can defend his mini horde with my Ice Wizard and my Tornado, so I'm willing to cycle my Poison and kind of just waste it because he's spell cycling me also. Anything else I drop will just get killed by his Inferno Tower. At this point, the game's almost over. I'm just going for one more graveyard freeze. I placed my graveyard, as you can see, one more tile to the right. You always want to do that placement versus any Valkyrie deck, and then it would be one more tile to the left if I was versing a deck that didn't have Valkyrie in it. Okay guys, so that's going to wrap up the video. If you haven't checked out part 1, make sure to go back, watch part 1 of the video. That's where I also faced some really tough matchups, which I managed to win. So really good gameplay, really, I think a really solid video. You can learn a lot from it, but that's going to wrap up this one. So, Vulkan out.